So my name is Mattaya and I am 27, soon to be 28, like next week. And I'm originally from Boston, Mass. Born and raised here in Dorchester and Brighton. But I currently reside in Brooklyn. Like art-wise, what I do, I'm a visual artist, but primarily a painter at the moment, doing both big and small work and everything in between. So my Instagram name is Misfit Muses, but I generally also just go like by Mattaya, or like when people put my name down, it's usually just like Mattaya Fits. But Misfit Muses works too, and I put it like on my pieces too. But that is a name that I actually coined like in high school. So I don't know, in high school I feel like I was a bit of a weirdo, like I didn't quite fit in. So I kind of kept to my own devices, and I ended up making like a blog that just had like a bunch of like fashion images and like artists and stuff that I was really into, and like in trying to think of a name for it, I was like, what should I call it? And so I thought of like my name, like Mattaya Fits, Misfit Muses, and it was basically just like a collection of just like things that I was really inspired by, and I've kept that name like into today. I've been into visual art for a really long time, like on a serious level. I mean, I studied it in college, like I went to Mass Art for painting, but I've actually probably been drawing since I was 5 years old, and I've had like formal training along the way, like in high school. But yeah, it's been a while. Visual arts are important to me because it provides so much for me. It's a way for me to express myself, to express like my feelings about the world. It's a way for me to connect with others, either people who don't know about visual art or other artists. There's always like different ways of connecting with them through visual art. It allows me to learn about things. Because I feel like when I'm trying to like create or like gather imagery for ideas, like I'm always like learning about like certain topics, and it's everywhere in the world, like visual art, whether you know it or not, like it's all around us. I think it can be definitely hard to find gigs as a visual artist in Boston, especially when you're starting out. Like you might not really know like where to look and what to do. I would say like really get out there and go to as many art events as you can to start meeting people, because you can make as much art as you want. You should be making art. You should be making art all the time, but if you don't go out there and like meet people and, you know, form relationships with people, the art just might not go anywhere. Like it'll stay in your room. Like when someone hits me up and they want a commission, I usually try to, you know, gather the necessary information in order to give them like a quote for like a price. Right. So I'll ask them like subject matter, like what do they want painted? Do they have like reference pictures? Like color palette, do they want like certain colors or certain things in it? Like what is their idea? I want to get a good idea of like what they want to do. Right. And then like size is a factor, even like location. So just trying to get as many details down as possible. Right. So I can give them a really clear picture of what I'm gonna do. So then it's that, and then it's like collecting payments, and there are so many different ways that people do that, but I usually do like, you know, half up front, and then like half before it's like right before it's finished, or like when it's finished, but right before I send it off. That's worked for me so far. And then it's making sure that they're like really happy with what they get. I think customer satisfaction is like everything, and that's how you also like you get more people interested in your art. So since moving to Brooklyn, I just work in my room, because you know space is limited, and like studios and apartments, like those add up. So I'm not in a studio right now. I just work out of my room, which is actually great. I love being able to like just get up off my bed and go paint. Art supplies are a lot. Like if you're consistently making art, you will spend money. When people are seeking commissions, I usually just like kind of factor in the supplies I know I'll need like into the price. Usually like I have the paint on hand, so that's kind of okay. It's more like the canvases because people usually want it on like a specific canvas size. But it really does cost a lot. I consider so many things when I like do prices. I consider that like, you know, I paid for this education in painting, so that like, you know, you're also paying for like level of experience. But the supplies themselves, it's like paint is expensive, whether you're painting acrylic or oil. They can both get really pricey. I feel like my biggest achievement so far, I would say one general achievement is like being able to actually live off my work in a sense. So I'm not currently like full-time yet. Like that's the goal and that's gonna happen. I'm like adamant, I'm like sure about that. But it's being able to like actually live off my art. And like secondly, more specifically, I just finished an artist residency at a school in Wellesley called Dana Hall, and it's been my first artist residency, the first of like many to come. But I feel like that's definitely a step. Like once you start doing like art residencies and like fellowships, I feel like those are all like things you want to do as an artist. I mean, in 10 years, I see myself. So I've been doing murals more in the past like two or 3 years, and I love them. I love them so much. So I see myself traveling all over the world to do murals, like huge murals like on the side of buildings. I also see myself maybe exploring other artistic mediums, like fashion. I really love fashion, so I somehow want to like segue into that. I think it'd be cool to maybe be like creative director of a creative agency or something. Yeah, I don't have like super specific like details yet, but those are just kind of like areas I know I'd like to delve into. Advice I'd give to an aspiring visual artist in Boston. I would say work ethic is a lot. Like try to get your work ethic on point. Like if you're a painter, paint as much as you can. If you like drawing, draw as much as you can. Go out to like museums and shows. Like even if you think you might not be interested in them, go and check them out. Because there's always something to learn from like looking at art. And also try to find other artists, like talk to other artists, ask them about their work, you know, support them, build community, just kind of be a sponge, you know, like be willing to take like constructive criticism, like don't have so much ego that like you just don't even that you just like
you can't receive.
Yeah, that you can't receive. You gotta kind of be flexible.